Welcome back to the journey through real-life mysteries and chilling true stories. And if this is your first time here, be prepared, because the stories you're about to hear won't just send shivers down your spine. They'll make you wonder what might be lurking just beyond what we can see. Don't forget to subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and share this channel with fellow seekers of the strange and unexplained. Are you ready? The journey begins now. A rope sways gently from a tree. There's no wind, no one around. Beneath it, untouched snow. Above it, nothing. And yet, a body hangs exactly 20 centimeters from the ground. This isn't a legend. It's a documented case, and the forest still remembers. The Forest of Revenge, Finland, 1997. Some forests don't wait for people to get lost. They choose who will never return. The event took place in the Vaskivuoma Forest, located in the Kittilä district of northern Finland, bordering the Lapland region. This is a sparsely populated area, known for its icy terrain, silent snow-covered woods, and countless ancient Sami legends. According to the Helsingin Sanomat, 1997, newspaper and investigation records from the Rovaniemi police, multiple bodies were found hanged exactly 20 centimeters off the ground, suspended with rope tied with perfect symmetry and balance, as if measured by machines. No signs of struggle, no objects used to climb up, and no footprints were found nearby. In September 1997, an independent research group of 7 entered the forest to study magnetic anomalies, biological shifts, and historical data in the region. After 6 days, 3 members went missing. When their bodies were found, they were hanged in the exact same way as earlier victims, their faces horrifically distorted by intense fear. Locals from the Sami community believe this is a cursed forest, home to the spirits of the Yilinn people, an ancient tribe annihilated long ago, whose souls still linger and never forget. That August, the ice melted early, leaving the ground damp and mossy. The research group, led by experienced biologist Tapio Jarvinen, entered the forest to investigate unusual magnetic readings in the Vaskivuoma region. Tapio was a seasoned field expert, having led expeditions in northern Norway without incident, and was trusted completely. From day one, something felt off. As they set up camp near a clearing, their audio equipment picked up continuous whispering sounds, like a child, repeating the same word over and over in an unknown language. These sounds peaked between 2 and 4 a.m., when temperatures dropped below freezing and dense fog swallowed the forest floor. On the second day, Kari Niemi, the youngest in the group, discovered bare footprints in the snow, deep and clear, but only one, as if someone had walked on a single foot and vanished into thin air. No drag marks, no return prints, completely isolated. On the third day, while surveying an old cluster of trees, the team discovered a rope dangling from high above, exactly 2 meters long, with its end hovering precisely 20 centimeters off the ground. The rope was wet, as if freshly hung, yet the surrounding area showed no signs of camping, human activity, or anchoring. They chose to move on, but Tapio quietly recorded measurements. The height matched exactly with victims documented in a 1974 case. No one in the group carried ropes. That night, Minna, the only woman in the group, awoke at 3 a.m. screaming, "Someone just tied something around my neck." Everyone rushed out. On Minna's neck, a faint red, wet mark was clearly visible, like a thin rope had just been removed seconds earlier. No one had left the tents. There were no sounds. Nothing. On day 4, Carey disappeared. He left early to check the magnetic equipment and never returned. When searched for, the team found a perfect circular clearing in the snow, about 1 meter wide, as if the snow had been wiped clean with surgical precision. In the center was a shallow indentation, resembling the drag of a heavy body being lifted straight off the ground. Their GPS failed. Thermal imaging devices could not detect any living beings within a 100-meter radius. Completely blank, as if the area had been scrubbed clean. Tapio wrote in his journal, "I saw nothing, but I swear something was watching me from the trees." That night, the audio recorder picked up a sound, a laugh, very faint, continuous, lasting exactly 48 seconds. When played at high speed, it sounded like someone whispering each group member's name slowly. By the next morning, 3 more had vanished. Left behind were Tapio, Minna, and a technician named Leto. They decided to retreat south immediately, but not far from camp. They found 3 bodies hanging from tall trees, ropes descending from branches 6 meters above, yet no signs of climbing or tree damage. Each body hung exactly 20 centimeters above the ground. Their necks were not broken, just faint rope marks, bulging eyes, and gaping mouths as if they died mid-scream. But no screams were ever heard or recorded. Minna broke down. Through tears, she whispered, "I saw them last night, walking in the fog. I thought it was a dream." Tapio remained silent, scanning the surroundings. He then saw more ropes beginning to appear on nearby branches, empty, yet swaying slightly, as if caught in an invisible wind. When the rescue team arrived, only 3 survivors remained, dehydrated, sleepless, and in deep shock. Tapio was taken to the Rovaniemi hospital, where he revealed something chilling. "I saw hundreds of figures lined up along the tree trunks. They had no eyes, no noses, only wide open mouths. They didn't walk. They drifted. They weren't alive, but they knew who we were." Later, a Sami elder named Rasmus visited Tapio. After hearing his story, he said simply, "You stepped into the land of the betrayed dead, the land of Yilinn, slaughtered without burial. They repeat their own deaths through the living." The Yilinn were once recorded on an ancient Sami map, an enigmatic tribe that had lived in the area thousands of years before being exterminated by invaders. No graves, no names, only a curse left to echo through the forest. Police reviewed GPS and audio data, revealing a disturbing pattern. All victims had left their tents alone the night before their deaths, claiming to have heard familiar voices calling their names. Minna confirmed, "I heard my mother's voice, calling me from behind camp. I stepped out, just a few meters, but then I saw nothing and ran back." One recording captured a woman's voice, soft, tender, almost identical to Minna's mother. But when analyzed, it revealed unnatural frequencies, dual-layered audio distortions not matching human vocal patterns. Psychologists attributed it to sensory hypnosis triggered by buried trauma, but no known case ever showed mass influence in a fully isolated group in such a remote, frozen environment. Today, access to Vaskavwoma Forest is restricted. Warning signs in Finnish, Swedish, Sami, and English line the borders. Yet local Sami say that occasionally, ropes can still be seen swaying in the trees, even in summer, when no one dares. Enter on early winter nights, when the first snow falls. Those nearby report hearing. Look up. The locations where victims were found had no surrounding footprints. The snow beneath their bodies remained untouched, as if each person had been lifted from the earth and suspended in midair. Minna now lives in Sweden. She owns no phone, no social media. In her final journal, published posthumously by a close friend, she wrote, "I still hear them calling my name on the coldest nights." Could there be places that defy our logic, where unresolved history manifests as never-ending death loops? If those souls still drift between the trees, then how many other forests across the world are silently seeking revenge? We call it nature, but perhaps it's watching back and remembers exactly what we did to it. Is there a place where light doesn't come from the sun, a flashlight, or electricity, but from blood, stone, and the laughter of unseen children rising from beneath the earth? A group of explorers entered an abandoned mine expecting only dust and silence, but what they found made sure they'd never return. Footprints on the ceiling, claw marks in stone, and a bloodstained cloth glowing in the dark. This is the story Uruguay never wanted to revisit. The glowing mine, mystery in the abandoned depths of Uruguay. In August 2009, a group of 5 amateur explorers from Montevideo, Uruguay, reported strange phenomena when entering the abandoned El Murcielago iron mine near the town of Minas de Corrales, a mine that had been closed since 1971. They claimed to witness a soft green glow emanating from within the mine, hear echoing childlike laughter, and discovered bizarre signs. Footprints on the ceiling, claw marks on rock walls, and a piece of old bloodstained cloth that glowed in the dark. Their account briefly appeared in El País, but was quickly removed. Since then, no one has dared to return. In August 2009, 5 young explorers, Martin, Diego, Carla, Julian, and Lucas, passionate about underground exploration, decided to enter the long-abandoned El Murcielago mine. Local rumors spoke of green lights and children's laughter. Emerging from its depths as they approached the mine entrance at dusk, they heard a soft giggle from deep inside. Assuming it was wind, they paused, but the sound persisted. It sounded like a child playing hide and seek, yet it didn't. echo normally. The deeper they went, their flashlights began flickering slightly, as if thin mist was obstructing their vision. In the third shaft, they encountered something truly odd, a faint green light emanating from cracks in the stone walls. Martine touched the rock. No heat, no static. Carla tried recording, but her camera showed only darkness. Lucas, at the rear, muttered that the light seemed to move toward him, as though being watched from the shadows. In a large open cavern once used as a resting area by miners, they found something chilling, a series of child-sized footprints embedded in the stone ceiling, perfectly formed, upside down, and covered in coal dust. Yet there were no signs of climbing or surfaces to stand on. Diego whispered, "We shouldn't be here." Just then, 3 knocks echoed behind them. Their flashlights dimmed. In the 4th shaft, they discovered long vertical scratches on the wall, not horizontal like tools would make, but deep, vertical claw marks, over a centimeter deep, arranged in a spiral and stretching over 4 meters. Julian tried recreating. "One with a knife? Useless," Carla murmured. "It's like something screamed in here." Using claws. From that point, all GPS and radio devices went dead. The temperature dropped nearly 10 degrees Celsius in minutes. A dark shape darted across the passage, but the camera caught only static. Lucas's flashlight caught something in the corner, a crumpled white cloth covered in dust, lying on a rock. He picked it up. Bloodstains. But more terrifying, it glowed a faint, steady blue light. Not phosphorescent, but as if powered internally. Yet, there were no electronics. He folded it into his backpack and the light vanished. When reopened, it glowed again. Carla panicked. "That's not natural. That's a warning." Martine suggested they retreat, but as they headed back, they began to hear whispers. Oddly, the sound came against the direction of airflow, not echoing from behind, but ahead of them. When they turned, nothing was there. The voice started as a child's, then an adult's, then multiple voices at once, repeating, "Don't bring it out, don't bring it out." Lucas's backpack began to glow faintly again. It trembled. They exited the mine near midnight. At the car, Lucas removed his backpack. His shirt had a small burn, but no heat source. The cloth had vanished. When reviewing their recordings, all audio inside the mine had been replaced by laughter. That was neither human nor digital. 1 month later, Lucas suffered memory loss. Carla was diagnosed with panic disorder. None of them ever returned to El Murciélago. Local authorities posted a warning: unsafe area, geological risk. But townspeople still claim to see the green glow at night and hear laughter rising from below. Would you dare enter a place where what glows isn't light, but something waiting for you to come closer? Would you dare to look in the mirror at 2:41 a.m. when something is reaching up from the drain? This isn't a horror movie. It's a real event from New Mexico, an old house, a missing girl never found, and crying sounds echoing from a pipe sealed 30 years ago. The crying from the drain pipe. New Mexico, USA, 2003. Something is beneath the floor. It doesn't drip water. It drips the voice of a soul. In March 2003, the Wilson family moved into an old house on Oak Ridge Street, on the outskirts of Albuquerque, New Mexico. The house previously belonged to a single woman named Martinez, who went missing in 1974. The incident was featured in the 2006 show Paranormal Files of the Southwest and the book Haunted Pipes by Diana Morales, a renowned expert on paranormal phenomena in the U.S. Some video footage capturing unexplained sounds from the house still circulates among mystery forums today. In the very first week, Linda Wilson, a stay-at-home mom, began to hear muffled sobbing from the bathroom's tiled floor. The sound was faint, distant, but unmistakably that of an infant softly weeping. Her husband, John, initially dismissed it as stress-induced hallucinations. But on the third night, while brushing his teeth, he too heard a slow, echoing whisper from beneath the sink. "Mommy." Linda stopped sleeping. She refused to be alone in the bathroom. They called in a plumber, a man named Ramon, to inspect the drainage system. While clearing out the pipe under the sink, Ramon pulled out a thick wad of black hair, damp and slimy with a foul odor. Worse still, embedded in the hair was a small fingernail, pale green, soft, like it belonged to someone long deceased. No rats, no mold. Nothing blocked, except this. And the smell, Ramon said, sealing it in a plastic bag. That night, the crying became louder. It sounded like someone trapped beneath the floor calling out. On the 10th night, Linda sensed something terribly wrong. As she stood before the mirror brushing her teeth, she saw a fleeting shape behind her, a small figure, pale, with long black hair, hunched over the sink, staring into the drain. She turned around. No one, but the mirror began to fog, even though the water wasn't hot. Then came 3 slow knocks from the sink drain. She screamed. John ran in, only to find the drain cap slightly shifting, as if being pushed from below. John installed a night vision surveillance camera. The first few nights, the footage showed nothing unusual. But on the 4th night, at exactly 2:41 a.m., the camera captured something horrifying. A hand, long, pale, bony, emerged from the drain. Its fingers were deformed, unnaturally jointed, and it crept across the sink before retreating back into the darkness. Simultaneously, the crying surged on the audio, louder as the hand appeared. John submitted the footage to the police. No response. A Reddit video analyst later remarked, "That's not CGI. The motion is real. If it's not staged, something else is alive under that house." One night, a strange stench wafted from the basement. John followed it and found a patch of concrete differently colored. He broke it open, uncovering an old sealed drainage pipe with a small wooden box wedged inside. Inside the box, a burnt photo of a little girl in a white dress sitting by a bathtub, a baby tooth, a scrap of paper. She kept screaming, "I had to drown her." Linda collapsed to her knees. On the bathroom wall, a long crack appeared. The knocking sounds became rhythmic. 1, 2, 1. Then 3, 3, 3. An elderly neighbor, Mrs. Reyes, burst into tears upon seeing the photo. That's Julieta Martinez, the girl who disappeared in 1974. Her mother lived there. They committed her to an asylum after she confessed. She talks from the pipes. "I had to silence her." Police records confirmed the case. The mother insisted that her daughter spoke from inside the plumbing, cried from under the tiles. Julieta's body was never found. The house was sold. Case closed. Until the crying returned in 2003. The Wilsons moved out in May 2003, leaving behind everything from the bathroom. Before leaving, they invited a priest to perform a cleansing ritual. As the prayers began, the weeping voices roared from every pipe, the walls, even the toilet. Not one voice, but many. Children, women, like a cycle of grief trapped in water. After the ritual, silenced that a year later, another couple moved in. They lasted 3 weeks. Before leaving, they scribbled a message and marker on the bathroom wall. "The girl in the drain pipe doesn't sleep. She's waiting for someone to answer." The house is now sealed. The pipes no longer function. Yet nearby residents still report that on certain nights of the year, they hear water flowing and the soft, broken cry of a child. Beneath the concrete and the rusted plumbing, how many souls still wait to be heard? Or worse, do they no longer want to be heard, but to be replaced? At exactly 2:17 a.m. every night, the time her mother died, she heard 3 slow knocks beneath the floorboards. No basement, no reason, no peace. When she finally dug into the earth, she didn't find wiring or pipes, but a sealed diary filled with terrifying dreams her mother once had. Each dream was a warning, and each one began to come true. A faceless figure in the mirror, a child with no eyes, a door buried in the earth, never meant to be opened. She posted her story on TikTok. The videos vanished within 12 hours. So did she. But the knocking never stopped. The knocks from mother's basement. Oklahoma, USA, 2016. Not every death ends in silence. Some spirits keep knocking. In June 2016, an anonymous TikTok account from Tulsa, Oklahoma, posted a series of videos recounting a personal experience after the death of the user's mother. She claimed that every night at exactly 2:17 a.m., the time her mother passed away, she would hear 3 knocks beneath the living room floor. Even though the house had no official basement, within 12 hours, all the videos were deleted. The account vanished. On Reddit, a few users managed to archive the first video and identified the setting as a suburban home in Tulsa. Around the same time, a missing person report was filed for Emily R. Waverly, born in 1992. She was never found, but the story Emily told still echoes. The first video was recorded in dim yellow light. In an old room, a young woman, half her face hidden in the shadows, speaks with a trembling voice. "My mom died 7 days ago. And since then, every night, I hear 3 knocks under the living room floor, always at 2:17 a.m. I checked, there's no basement." She pans the camera down to the wooden floor. Nothing unusual, but in the next 27 seconds, 3 clear, deep knocks are heard from directly beneath. Viewers initially thought it was a prank, but as more users asked for details, she uploaded 4 more videos, each more chilling than the last. In the third video, the woman stands in her living room, holding a flashlight, filming the floorboards. She says, "I recorded it with a mic. The knocks only happen when I'm alone. Always 3. I think I found the exact spot." The camera focuses on a slightly discolored plank. She pries it up with a knife. Beneath it is not concrete like the rest of the foundation, but dense, dark soil, compacted, as if it had once been dug up and filled again. In the background, a shadow passes behind her in the mirror of a nearby cabinet, though she never mentions it. Observant viewers commented, "Who walked behind you? That shadow had no face." The next day, she posted the 4th video. She kneels down and pulls a rusty metal-locked wooden box wrapped in cloth from the soil. Inside, there's a small leather-bound journal, yellowed with age. It's my mom's diary. The first page is dated May 1992, 3 months before I was born. The following pages describe a series of recurring, prophetic nightmares her mother once had. Intense, vivid, and deeply unsettling. "Last night, I saw him again. He stood in the mirror but didn't reflect the light. He knows my name. I dreamed of a child with no eyes. It was knocking on the bedroom door. There is a door that must never be opened in any house." The girl began to realize that the events her mother recorded were now happening to her. Point 1 video shows her pointing the camera at her bedroom mirror. At first, nothing happens, but at second 19, a figure appears behind her, faint, faceless, unmoving. She turns around. No one's there. In the old nursery room she now used for storage, she finds a photo of her mother holding a baby. But upon zooming in, the baby has no eyes. Page 27 of the diary reads, "They don't come to haunt. They come to remind me of what I opened as a child." One day later, the final video was uploaded. The girl speaks quickly, voice tense. "I think my mother left something down there. Something that shouldn't be touched." She reopens the floor and digs deeper. The camera shakes slightly. She backs away. There's a door under the house. Not a typical door. A circular wooden hatch with strange symbols carved into it, resembling a crossed-out eye. Under her flashlight, 3 knocks echo, very close, coming from behind the door. The camera shuts off. The screen goes black. No further videos were ever posted. Her TikTok account vanished 12 hours after the final upload. Followers tried to find her, but failed. A few Reddit users saved fragments of the clips. The last IP location pinged from Tulsa, then went silent at the same time Tulsa police received. A missing person report from a neighbor who said a young woman living alone in a suburban house hadn't left home in days, though her lights kept turning on at 2:17 a.m. Police found the house empty. No diary, no videos, just a patch of earth. Under the floor, freshly filled back in. Viewers of the girl's videos later reported disturbing events. One person said their alarm clock started going off at 2:17 a.m. for 3 nights in a row. Another claimed their bathroom mirror fogged up on its own, even with no humidity. A third received a text from an unknown number. Just 3 words: knock, knock, knock. All of them had commented on the original video. One, visibly shaken, posted a final video apologizing. "I shouldn't have laughed. I think I made it worse." They haven't been online since July 2016. If a spirit knows its own death before it happens, what would it do to stop the same fate from falling upon the living? And if a door was once opened by innocence, who must close it now? Would you dare listen when the knocks begin? Just 3. At exactly 2:17 a.m. Nine strangers across Japan dreamed of the same man. Curly hair, white eyes, a crooked smile. He stands at the end of a hallway, never moving. But one night, he took a step forward. The dreamer disappeared, and the rest still see him, even now. The Dreams of the Unconnected, Japan, 2005. A true story based on leaked clinical records. Extracted from an unpublished psychiatric report by Dr. Kenji Matsuda, a leading expert in dream analysis and hallucination disorders at Tokyo Psychiatric Hospital. The report was partially leaked in 2007 through a Japanese metaphysical forum and has since circulated under the nickname, "The Man at the End of the Hallway." Although never officially confirmed, the presence of 9 unrelated patient files describing the same mysterious figure, a curly-haired man with blank white eyes, has no precedent in Japanese medical history. Dr. Kenji Matsuda was a man of science. He did not believe in superstition or the supernatural. He approached every case with logic, data, and probability. That's why he sat in stunned silence for 3 full minutes after receiving the 9th patient file in less than 2 months. 9 individuals of different ages, genders, and from completely unrelated locations had each visited their local neurology clinics complaining of a single repeating symptom, recurring nightmares, with identical images, followed by waking panic. The dreams were always the same: a long, dimly lit hallway with flickering fluorescent lights, that a man standing still at the far end. He had curly, disheveled hair and a long face. His eyes were pure white, no pupils, no irises. He never moved. He simply stood there, smiling. None of these people knew each other. None had ever seen this man outside their dreams. And yet, they all described the exact same thing. What they all had in common: each time they dreamt of the man, Their condition worsened. One patient developed insomnia. Another couldn't walk through corridors without hyperventilating. A 19-year-old girl refused to leave her room, terrified. She'd see him in real life. All of them said the same thing. I know he's just in my dream, but I see him as clearly as if he were real. Dr. Matsuda asked each to draw what they saw. The sketches were nearly identical. Long, hollow face, crooked smile, curly hair, and those same blank white eyes. Within weeks, 3 patients were hospitalized due to severe panic episodes. One 42-year-old man locked himself in his bathroom, whispering, "He's coming closer. He's coming closer." Another patient, a young woman, shattered every mirror in her home, despite no mention of mirrors in the dreams. When asked why, she answered, "He's standing in the mirror." The nightmares didn't stay contained in sleep. Somehow, something was bleeding through. Matsuda, a veteran of over 3 decades in psychiatry, refused to believe it was coincidence. He started digging through old records, crime archives, and historical psychiatric evaluations at the archives of Chua Psychiatric Hospital, where he had trained in the early 90s. He found a name, Shiro Mondo, male, 33, high-risk psychiatric patient. His record included childhood animal cruelty, first murder committed at age 16, claimed he heard laughter in his head, treated with electroshock and sedatives, committed suicide at the hospital in 1995, died. One chilling detail: Matsuda himself had been an assistant on Mondo's final case. Shiro Mondo fit the dream image exactly. Curly hair, pale eyes, crooked smile. Nurses and staff had repeatedly reported seeing him standing motionless at the end of the hospital hallway at night. When asked, he always replied, "I'm waiting for the next one." Days before his death, he scrawled in a notebook, "The hallway belongs to me. They will keep seeing me." After Mondo's death, several nurses resigned. Their reasons? Recurring dreams of a man in a hallway. But nothing had ever been filed officially. Could it be that a part of him had remained, moving through the minds of others? Patient 9, a university student named Masaru, had kept a dream journal. His last entry, dated the night before his disappearance, read, "He wasn't at the far end tonight." He took a step forward. "I woke up gasping. The laughter wasn't in the dream. It was in my ears, nearby." Masaru vanished the next morning. No clues, no signs of struggle. One piece of paper was found on his desk. He stepped forward. In 2008, Dr. Matsuda refused all interviews. When asked by a colleague, he simply said, "Some dreams aren't created by our own minds. They come from somewhere else, from a memory that never fell asleep." Though never acknowledged publicly, in the years following, anonymous forum posts began appearing in Japan. Have you ever seen a man standing at the end of a hallway in your dream? Curly hair, white eyes, smiling. Still, one reply stood out. "If he hasn't walked yet, you still have time." If dreams can connect minds of strangers, could they also become a bridge for something else? Something that refuses to die, something that waits in silence until the hallway is empty again. And when it takes a step forward, will you still be dreaming or already gone? What if the Earth is not silent, but breathing? In 1989, workers in an abandoned Polish coal mine heard something impossible, a breath. Deep, human, coming from a sealed shaft buried for over 100 years. And then, a handprint appeared from the inside. What did they awaken? The breathing from the earth. Katowice, Poland, a story based on real mining reports from 1989. This story is based on an unofficial report from workers at a demolition site in Katowice, Poland, dated 1989, during the removal of a coal mine abandoned since the 19th century. Parts of a mining engineer's journal from 1888 were later cited. At Krakow's parapsychology and geophysics seminars, relating to a phenomenon described as biological resonance from underground. Although the Polish government never confirmed it, local residents still whisper about it to this day. On the outskirts of Katowice lies an abandoned coal mine known as Zakład 7, shut down more than a century ago after a string of unexplained accidents in 1888. In January 1989, the local government authorized its final demolition to make space for a new gas refinery. As workers cleared the last rubble and rusted beams, they uncovered a metal well cap, completely sealed and half buried under debris, scratched and corroded. The metal plate bore faded lettering. After cleaning, it revealed Zampnak, Nigdy Nie Otwierak. Seal it, never open. A warning from the past, one they shouldn't have ignored. On the second day of demolition, the crew began to feel uneasy. The first to hear it was Piotr Mazur, a machinery operator who leaned close to inspect the well cover. Pressing his ear against the steel, he reported, breathing, rhythmic, weak, but real. It wasn't wind, not humidity. It sounded alive. Within days, 5 other workers reported hearing the same thing. Instruments showed no seismic activity, no airflow, but human ears still picked it up. 1890. The breathing would last for hours. Under pressure from the project's chief engineer, the seal was removed on January 14, 1989. Cutting through the thick, aged metal took over 6 hours. The moment the final sheet was pried away, a white, viscous cold mist burst upward, so chilling that one engineer suffered mild frostbite within seconds. But what horrified them most wasn't the mist. Inside the shaft, against the black soot-lined wall, was a handprint. 5 fingers, clear and full, pressed from the inside, clawing upward. As if someone or something had once tried to climb out. An old wooden box was discovered in a rusted filing cabinet near the shaft. Inside lay the personal journal of Witold Nowak, the mine's chief engineer. In 1888, did its final pages read, "The callings, the breathing, something is down there." I went to inspect Shaft 7 personally. No men, but I heard it. I swear to God, I heard it. At the bottom of the page, seal it, never open again. Witold vanished weeks later. His body was never recovered. 2 workers, Jakub and Tomasz, returned at night to document the phenomenon. They brought a camcorder to prove the sound was real. The footage captured a flashlight beam sweeping over the shaft, a long, drawn-out exhale, nearly 12 seconds. Tomasz whispering, "Something's down there." Then the screen turned to static. The camera glitched and cut out. Tomasz was found 6 hours later, catatonic, hands trembling, unable to speak clearly. Jakub was never found. A research team from Krakow was dispatched discreetly. Using sonar, thermal probes, and electromagnetic sensors, they discovered abnormal EM interference near the well sub, 20 Hz infrasound waves, inaudible to most humans, a faint biological rhythm pattern, like a heartbeat. Professor Karol Bukowski authored a classified report. A section was later leaked. This may not be a living organism per se, rather a memory. The Earth's memory. A breath trapped in time. Something that once lived. Something still waiting. After the incident, the site was permanently sealed. On official maps, the area is marked Restricted Industrial Zone. But locals still claim to hear breathing. On the coldest nights in 1997, a teenager wandered into the site and was found. Hours later, eyes wide, staring blankly, unable to speak. When given chalk, he wrote 2 words on the wall: "It breathes." No one had ever taught him those words. The boy was later diagnosed with total hearing loss. Yet he insisted, "I still hear someone calling my name." What if the well was never meant to keep people out, but rather to keep something inside? And what if it's still breathing, still aware, still waiting? Then the question is, who or what is waiting to be awakened beneath the earth? Christmas Eve, 1945. A house erupts into flames in the night. 5 children vanish. Not a bone, not a drop of blood left behind. No cries for help. No bodies in the ashes. A stranger once said, "This house will burn to purify sin." Years later, a photo arrives, bearing the message, "I'm still alive. They keep me in the dark." Could it be some children were never meant to be buried? Five children who vanished on Christmas night. On Christmas Eve of 1945, Fayetteville, West Virginia lay under a blanket of quiet snow. But in the dead of night, the Sodder family home erupted into flames, engulfing everything within a few hours. Of the 10 Sodder children, 5, Maurice, 14, Martha, 12, Louis, 9, Jenny, 8, and Betty, 5, vanished without a trace. No bodies were found in the ashes. No blood, no bones, no cries for help. As if they had never existed, George and Jenny Sodder, overwhelmed with grief, refused to believe their children had died. They insisted the fire wasn't just an accident. It was a ritual, a smoke screen for something more horrific, a carefully planned abduction by a shadowy, invisible force. Strange events unfolded before the fire. A mysterious man visited the house, stared at the children, and said, "This house will burn to purify a sin." A utility worker came to check the voltage, but Jenny caught him secretly tampering with the fuse box the night before the fire. A strange phone call came at 12:45 a.m. A woman's voice laughed maniacally, mixed with the sound of clinking glass and a high-pitched screech, like fingernails on metal. After the fire, they discovered strange footprints around the house, leading into the forest. One of them was the size of a child's. George Sauter charged into the fire, but the flames seemed to have a will of their own, devouring the staircase to the second floor in minutes. The ladder had vanished. Both trucks wouldn't start. The water barrel was frozen solid, as if someone had poured freezing chemicals into it. When the fire department arrived, suspiciously late, they merely stood in silence before the ruins, refusing to dig or search. One fireman whispered to George, "You shouldn't ask too many questions. Some children were never meant to return." After the fire, the town fell into uneasy silence. But rumors spread. A theater employee swore she saw Martha with a woman in a black cloak. A truck driver reported seeing 5 doll-like children, unblinking, locked in the back of a truck crossing the mountain at dawn. An elderly woman living near the cemetery claimed she heard children laughing and giggling around the Sauter ruins for many nights after the fire. "They don't sleep, they're waiting," she said. The Sauter family sifted through the ashes. Among them, they found something that didn't belong, a charred piece of a human forearm, later confirmed to belong to an adult. Years later, a strange photograph arrived at the Sauter house. It showed a young man resembling Lewis, with scribbled writing on the back, "I'm still alive. They keep me in the dark. Look beneath the 3-branched oak." George immediately traveled to the mentioned location. Beneath the 3-branched oak deep in the Appalachians, he discovered a rusted tin box containing a cloth doll. Its hair had been ripped out, and its face painted with a mouth sewn shut using red thread. Jenny later revealed that every night, she dreamed of the 5 children standing at her bedside, lips trembling, eyes bleeding, whispering, "We're trapped in a room with no door. We cannot scream. We cannot die." Were the Sauter children truly dead or trapped between 2 realms? Who was behind this evil? A cult? A shadow organization? Or something far more terrifying? Why were no remains found, yet the clues led into the forest once, a site of which executions in the 18th century? Do the children's spirits still linger, imprisoned in the ruins of a house turned to ash? The case remains open. And if, one Christmas night, you hear the faint patter of small footsteps across cold ashes, remember, 5 names have never found peace. The story ends here, but the mysteries still linger somewhere out there, hiding in the dark. Thank you for listening all the way to the end. If you felt a chill down your spine, don't forget to subscribe, turn on the bell, and share this story. We'll meet again in the next night with another mystery. Good night.